Up to this point, we done a lot of things. We discussed architecture, monolithic versus microservices, why microservice fail, service boundaries, local orchestration with .NET Aspire. Now it's time to connect design with reality. In this episode, we will add our first real microservice and run it using .NET Aspire. The first question is, which microservice should we build first? We always start with simplest least dependent service. In our case, that's a catalog services. We start with catalog because it has clear responsibility. It doesn't depends on other services. It mostly read heavy. This make it safe service to start with. Good architect also starts small. Let's quickly restate the boundary. The catalog service owns product data, exposes product related APIs, does not care about orders or payments. This is clarity, prevents future coupling. Now here the important part. We are not just creating a web API, we are creating service that Aspire knows about. Aspire will start the service, assign the ports, handle service discovery, show it in the dashboard. We focus on code, Aspire handles the wiring. In the code walkthrough, we will create the catalog API project, add it to the Aspire app host, run everything together, see the service appear in the Aspire dashboard. No advanced pattern, just clean foundation. In this episode, we are not adding a database, adding authentication, adding a Docker, adding cloud resources. We are building confident first, not a complexity. So with that clarity, let's switch to the code. We will create our first microservice and let .NET Aspire orchestrate it locally. This is where everything we discuss starts become real. Okay, so I'm in the Visual Studio. So let's right click the solution. Here you just add new project, search for web API. So ASP.NET Core Web API, let us choose and click next. So I keep it name as a catalog services. So keep it under our repository and click next. Ask for a framework, select it, and target framework let it be there. And okay, so I just unchecked it because the default I want to use the minimal API. So all looks good. So here I selected the enlist in .NET Aspire orchestration. So this what it will do, default it will add to the .NET AppHost. So let's okay. So our catalog services got created. Let's go and check our program. Okay, so we have some default code generated with a minimal structure. Okay, if you go to the app host, it's got added project catalog services here. So if you remove this one, so first we'll run our catalog project independently. Just remove for time being. Okay, let's set this as a start project. And so now running the catalog services with listening with the port number. HTTPS port number is this. Let's wait for the to open in the browser, or we can also like manually we can do that. Okay, so let's go to the browser. So we'll this listening in this port. Let's open this port slash weather forecast. Okay, so now we able to run our web API. So this is the sample data we have. So we can clean bit also, and we call it something like we can remove this all the junks, and we call it as products. Okay, so let's rerun it again. Cool. Now our API is up and running, and we have our sample product. Okay. So next step is let's close this. Let's now let's now enable this. This is one line of code where we can add our API project by builder.add project, and you have to refer the project services in the dependency. Okay, sorry. Okay, so then you give it a name, whatever the name you like. That's it. So now app host is orchestrating. It's not hosting. App host is only knows how to run the services, not what it does. Okay, so now let's go and set it app host as a start project. So now our API project will run through the app host. So let's rename it again. So now what it will do, once we run the app host, it will show all the services whatever we configured in the app host. If you see here, now it's running the distributed application. It is referring the app host. Okay, now it's log into the Aspire default dashboard. So now if you see under the table, there is a catalog services, and where is the sources, and it generated HTTPS URL. Let's go and click the URL here. So now default page we don't have anything. Let's slash products. So now be able to you can able to access the catalog services or Aspire. If you go to the console, you can see like what is going on background, and if you go to the stress, even you can see like structure, like complete how that enabling the hosting environment for development, and the URL start listening, and all the step by step process. And in the traces you can see initially what it is there, it is trying to get the URL. We try to open the catalog services URL, and then the request will go to the browser. Then the next step again the get request and slash product. So the product related calls it's happened. Okay, so it's a browser link. So all the in-depth details, all you will get it over under the traces. In the matrices, so whatever the process happens, like from the hosting to routing, then install, and under the .NET HTTP, what at all happening. So under runtime .NET GC garbage collections. So each and every details you can able to see here. What is the size of compiled size, and you can see like hosting routing. So routing is happened for slash products. So you can see like complete details like what is the CPU process count currently, when we trying to hit the particular right API, what is the CPU's count happens, graph, or you can look for the table wise data. So Aspire is really useful for dev environment to debug and understand not only orchestration, it has additional informations, and also like you want to check whether this service is alive, you can check by alive. And what about the health, is showing healthy. So this is the default service defaults come into the picture. You see like we have two endpoints which we are configured. So this will be get appended or whenever the application services start listening. Okay, so this is open telemetry. So all the traces, everything, those configurations we have in the default services under the service defaults. Okay, now let's summarize what we did so far. We created on our first microservices, register it with Aspire, run everything together. Here, note, we are not reinforce any Docker, no cloud, no extra configuration. This is a foundation we build everything on. In the next episode, we will go create one more services, and we will start adding the API gateway yard, and try to assess the multiple service through the single gateway. Let's go and dive into